Welcome to the new edition episode of Bad Parents Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan Parker.
I'm Shauna Whalen over here.
It's weird that you did that because you didn't do it the other two times. That we've talked about the last season and 2 episodes in regards to how great it is having children. Shauna has 3. Ryan has, I'm just joking, Shauna has 2. Ryan has 3, and I have 2. Just talking about how great it is to be a parent. It's all about parenting and trying to be better parents than our parents were to us and raising children and whatnot.
Well, I wouldn't have taken a cheap shot at my parents, but go ahead, Johnny.
Well, okay, fair enough. I apologize
I had
to
awesome parents.
Audrey and Rick. So,
In fact, I'm trying to mimic what they did.
okay.
You are not. Are you?
I am, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay.
They
all
were
right.
supportive and loving.
So it's just on me then. I'm the only one that hates my parents? I guess then, okay. So we'll just move on. Okay, great. So what if the hat was on the other head and we weren't parents? What about the people listening to this podcast who are like, they don't have kids?
Lucky.
So I looked up, and if you could turn back time.
Is that your Cher impression?
Yes.
Just
and not.
That's a
have
good Cher
children.
impression.
Do it.
Thank you.
You do it.
If I could turn back town.
That's pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah, that's
You should
really
be
good.
Cher for Halloween next year.
Thank you.
Very
And then you just have you'd be on a ship with a bunch of seamen.
Oh, man, what a video. That changed my life.
It also changed my life. I like to watch it alone. Top 8 reasons behind not having kids.
Oh,
And
I like this.
if you could look back at younger Shauna, would any of these reasons,
Okay.
and younger Ryan, would any of these reasons have said, you know what, I'm okay. I don't want to be a bad parent. I don't want to be a parent of any kind. Coming in number 8, focus more on relationships. The prime benefits of not having kids is that you get a lot of time to pay attention to your partner and your relationship. Does focusing on your relationship, would that steer you to not have kids?
I tell you what, I can see why you could focus on your relationship. And the people I know without children, you really have to like that person because you spend a lot more time with them than a married person does with children.
I have a unique experience is that I've been married twice, once with children and once without. Well, I kind of had a kid with the first one, but not for very long.
Can you go into the kind of part? Either.
Well, we were together for so long. I was 16 till I was like in my early 30s with someone. And then we had a 2-year-old when our marriage ended. So we had way more time without a child.
I got you.
And yes, we had so much time to do stuff together and also live very kind of like a parallel life. Like he did his own thing, I did my own thing, and then we'd have like these great dates and talk about what we were doing. But my second marriage, a current marriage, has always been with a child because I had a 2-year-old. And it's very different. It's very different experience to have a relationship without kids and a relationship with kids.
Are you then waiting for your third marriage to wait for the kids to be out of the house so you can focus back on the relationship?
Yeah, looking forward to the third one.
Very cool. Number 7 comes at health and wellness. Choosing not to have children can eliminate potential health risks and complications associated with pregnancy and childbirth. That wouldn't be a deterrent for me. I think that this isn't the medieval times where the barbers delivering babies in the back of carriages.
Also, I believe I read an article a while ago that for men in particular, you're actually, believe it or not, healthier when you are a father.
Women too, I think.
Oh, right, because you have a lot more to live for, and so you take care of yourself more.
Yes.
And sometimes if you're by yourself and you don't have any children, and maybe you have bad thoughts and things like that, where if you have children, you try to right yourself. It was like a thing in an article.
I could be wrong, but I heard breast cancer rates are lower in women who have had children.
Mm-hmm.
And breastfed and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I think there are health benefits too.
Yeah, just a disclaimer: we have no certificates of any kind of any sort of medical.
Also, for men, if you
easy,
you could practice having children, whether you're with a partner or by yourself. If you do that a lot, it's very healthy. 25 times a month, Johnny.
Wow.
I hit that by the 10th.
Thank you for the unbelievably focused number that you just pulled out of your brain.
Healthy urethra.
Pulled out.
Number 6 of the top 8 reasons for not having kids is mental and emotional well-being. And this one I can kind of get into. Parenthood comes with its share of stresses, challenges, and sacrifices. I've never been more mentally stressed and more mentally occupied with the well-being of my children than I have been for the past 5 years. To the point where I'm like, I didn't think it would ever get this bad.
Right.
And it started from the moment my oldest came home, sleeping in the bassinet beside the bed. I'm the guy every 20 minutes. You breathing? Everything all right?
Totally.
You're not making any noise, so let me shake you a little bit. Like let me just poke at you until you do make a noise.
Right.
Wake you up so I know you're okay.
You know what's very interesting with the whole mental health part of it is, and Johnny and I have been friends since grade 10, and I had children about 10 years before you, ballpark.
Yeah.
And I remember we worked together on the radio show, and you would tell me about some of your thoughts and feelings towards things, which is wonderful, right? And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I don't have that energy or that time to put into myself because it's always about the children.
Yeah.
And until you have children, you don't, like, if you ever talk to people without kids, you're like, they have so much freedom in their own heads, and they have time and energy to put into, like, I'm upset about this, so I want to deal with it. Where you're like, I'm upset about this, but I got a kid who's puking next to me.
Correct.
Number 5 is freedom of time. I think that goes without saying. If you don't have kids, you have a lot more freedom of time, right?
Simple, yeah.
Number 4 is personal fulfillment. Are you personally fulfilled as much as you could be with children?
No, I am not.
What is missing in your life? What is that hole? What is that void? How do I fill it?
Yeah, I just feel like for some people that is their fulfillment. For my mother, she only ever wanted her whole life to have children and be a mom. It was not my thing, and I thought I could do myself as well as be a parent, and you just can't. Maybe down the road I will, but like things like I like to write and I like to read. I like a lot of reflective type activities. There is none of that. None.
I'm cool, like, generally speaking. Like, yeah, would I like to maybe travel to different places that I haven't gone to because I have children and it's just a different vibe? Yes. I'm more than anything, to be honest, I'm just tired all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just tired.
Why don't you travel to a different place in your mind while you're practicing being a parent solo?
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I like it. Like
okay.
a massage parlor in Taiwan.
I was going to say, how about reduce 25 to like half that and see if you're so tired?
No, that's fine. It doesn't take up much time. I know what I'm doing.
Number 3 in the top 8 reasons for not having kids is career advancement.
Can I ask a question? Is it different for women?
It has to be.
It has to be because you're off.
I suppose I've been very fortunate. I think this job, because I'm working when my kids are sleeping, I've been really lucky. But yeah, I've heard from a lot of people with more regular type jobs that it definitely does affect your career.
I can 100% say that my wife has stated that to me, that
Yeah.
she feels that because of children, she is not where she could be
Right.
career-wise.
I could see that.
To the point when they are sick, she is off from work and I am not.
Yeah.
Now, I work in a job where it's almost mandatory for me to be here every day. It's not the everyday thing, but on the most part, if somebody's waking up with a fever, I am coming to work and she's staying home, therefore sacrificing her career in a way.
Yeah.
Because if she takes too much time off, right, that could be whatever, but it will be her. And I 100% notice that.
I also feel when women, sometimes you might start your career after you've had a family.
Sure.
Right? Like you might be 45 and just kind of getting into the market.
Definitely.
Number 2, and I feel it, and my kids are not as old as you, and you must feel it way more than I do, and that's financial freedom.
Oh my God.
Just forget it.
There is nothing that should be number 1. I can't imagine how much more money we would have if we didn't have kids. And that doesn't mean I don't want them. It's just a fact.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I think to myself, I'm 48 years old. If I was smart with money, and instead of spending it on hockey sticks and minivans and stuff like that, and invested it could probably retire 10 years before I will be able to.
Yeah, so at 80, you could have retired. Yeah, no, for sure. 100%. I'm scared to look forward because I hear Jack is driving, so there's a license and car and insurance involved. Your son plays high level hockey. My kid does karate for $80 a week, and I'm
It's tough, man.
Eating soup out of a can. Like it's crazy, right? And number 1 is lifestyle flexibility. So like for me, yeah, it is what it is. I don't know what else I would be doing that I need so much flexibility that I shouldn't have kids. Do you know what I mean?
I'd probably be up to 30 times a month. That's about the only difference.
That's a different kind of flexibility I think you're referring to.
I wouldn't live where I live. I wouldn't have the house
Wow,
that I have. I
okay.
wouldn't drive the cars that I have. I wouldn't dress the way I do. Everything is different.
I think out of the 3 of us, that is true. I think
Oh,
I'd live a little differently, but I think yours would be dramatic.
dramatically different.
Agreed.
And I think yours life was the exact same.
Exactly the same.
Masturbation talk. Masturbation talk.
And it's still loud enough? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. It's weird. So far away.
Are you going second, you said?
Yeah, because it's sucky.
It's so sucky.
Seems kind of like the whole. It's what we do. Like
What?
me, you, him.
Is that okay? Or you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to
You're the
mix
meat.
it up?
You're the meat.
I'm the boring meat.
You're the meat. Yeah, you're the bologna.
So we were talking about the difficulties of parenting, and right now I am 80% not here because my kid just came home from school sick again. And I thought I'm going to switch gears because I had a topic that I was going to talk about, but I wanted to see if statistics back up the fact that I feel like ever since the pandemic, my kids just don't go to school like they used to. And it's true, not only in this country, but they've done a bunch of studies. In the UK, it's up 60% absent kids in school, 60%.
Right.
Higher than before the pandemic.
Can I give my impression of a teacher, an English teacher? Doing
Sure.
a roll call.
Yeah.
Nigel? No, Nigel. Simon? No, Simon. Gavin? No. Poppy?
I love Poppy.
I know. That was one of my names. Short
Yeah,
list.
that's it. I think, what's that chef that you like, that I like?
Yeah. Jamie.
Oliver. I think his kids all have those
those kind
names.
of names, yeah.
But it's true. So CBC's been reporting on it. The fact is, kids got a taste of it being okay to be home. And I think now, even a mild headache, even a minor cold, because today is day 4 of my son's cold.
Wow, yeah.
Now, back when we were kids, did you stay home on day 4 of your cold?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think it's just a thing for whatever you said. Maybe it's COVID. I even think teachers are like, hey, if they're sick, they're sick.
They call home themselves now.
Yeah, right.
Like back in the day, you'd have to walk to the office and maybe the secretary, who wasn't always nice to kids, would maybe take pity on you and call your mom.
Yeah.
Now it's like Eli calls me, hey, yo, I'm not feeling well, come get me. Huh?
It's crazy, right?
There's definitely pre-COVID and post-COVID when it comes to that, right? During COVID, when people had to go to work, there were signs everywhere. If you feel sick, stay home, no matter what it was. I had somebody take 7 days off because they had a headache and they thought, I might be pre-COVID, right? So I think that really reflected not only on us and maybe to our children. Now, to your question, did you ever stay home on day 4? I gotta be honest with you, I didn't stay home on day 1.
I know.
Yeah.
There had to have been a fever or like some sort of throw-up action in order for me not to stay home from school. But I think that, like, we just talked about like financial flexibility and whatnot. My side hustle now is being a sickness sommelier.
Yeah.
Like I can pair your sickness with whatever. Like you got a little bit of RSV, like that hits your palate a little bit differently than, the flu, right? That's a full body experience. Like it's amazing how well versed you are with children's illnesses now.
I'm going to say this. So I got 3 kids in school. They've been in school for what, like 2.5 months or whatever it's been. I don't know, maybe once or twice, and I'm not kidding, that all 3 have gone to school for 5 consecutive days, like from Monday to Friday.
I believe it.
I have a kid, as we speak, I have a kid home as well sick. Yep.
And they're not faking it. Like for people that might look in from the outside and say they're just taking advantage, there was a fever involved. There are illness symptoms. It's just that it's just easier. And there's like this sense of responsibility because of how the pandemic went and being careful around other people and older teachers. Like we're just more inclined to stay home.
Is there any part of you that maybe allows it a little bit easier for them to come home? Because what if your son's best friend tells their mom that your son was in school sick? Does that then look bad upon you and you're worried about that sort of whatever? Because like there was a time when if you were in like a store and you coughed just because you were like, I don't know, choking on spit and you weren't spreading COVID everywhere, that everybody would stare at you like, this is the guy,
right? This
is the person over here who's doing the coughing.
You're like Outbreak. Remember
and
that
so
movie,
like,
Outbreak?
Oh, yeah.
That monkey.
It's such a thing now because Saturday, my son went to a hockey game with a buddy and she texted me, Eli's not feeling well, I'm going to bring him home. First thought was like, I hope he's okay. Second thought right away was, I am so sorry.
Yeah, right.
He went in the car with you and your kid's
it's in your upholstery now.
Oh my God.
Totally.
And I never would have thought that way before.
Can I play Dr. Parker?
Mm-hmm.
Is he English too or no?
Where do you want him to come from?
Australian.
Oh, g'day. Dr. Parker here. I haven't seen you for 13, 14 months. Now listen, I know you're here for Eli. I'm going to ask him to leave the room for a minute. Mother, I think to help Eli get better, you should take off your jumper.
What?
Why'd you let him play doctor? What'd you think he was going to do?
I thought because this is a professional podcast, he would take it a bit more serious.
So my question is this. Do you think Eli needs more Flintstone vitamins?
Well, so my husband and I right now are having a bit of a disagreement. I'm not a vitamin type of person. I think illnesses are just out there. I think that they're just going to get sick. He thinks something's completely wrong with him and that we need to go to the doctor and get his blood work done and see if he's deficient in certain vitamins. Maybe he's right and I'm wrong. I mean, did you guys take vitamins? Flintstones?
I remember Flintstones because they just taste so freaking good. I'd love one right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't make candy that tastes like that. It's a delicious treat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Same with what's the other medicine we both loved as kids?
Triaminic. Oh, the orange flavor. And then there was the banana antibiotics.
I'd put that over ice cream right now.
Yeah.
Just so you know, as somebody who gets like a lot of children's antibiotics, like it doesn't come in banana anymore.
Oh, it
like
does.
it's very
if you
rare.
ask.
You're getting a lot of bubble gum and cherry.
Oh, you have to ask. They have a secret
now
stash.
I know how you get your medicine. I'm still my Australian doctor.
Okay, makes sense.
G'day.
But maybe that's what we got. His diet's garbage.
Yeah.
My littlest eats like your littlest.
Ding, ding, ding.
Chicken
ding,
nuggets.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets and waffles.
Yeah.
And
Why do you do it like you would give a pet a vitamin? Like why do you just shove it into his chicken nuggets so when he eats it, he just goes in?
I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
I find the hardest part is them swallowing the pills.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it's just so hard. And then they don't like the taste of the medicine.
And now he's old enough he can take the non-liquid Advil, so that's been
Yeah,
an
good,
advantage.
good,
Except
good.
he calls them special M&Ms, and I'm worried because right now he's home alone with special M&Ms.
Is he like his Uncle Ryan? He likes him too much?
Anyway, so I changed my topic because I think if you're a parent and it's this time of year, you're just dealing with an onslaught of illnesses. So if anyone has any advice or vitamin recommendations.
Or if any mothers want a doctor, email us. Why'd I go weird like that? All right, is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
I get to play in the sandbox?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So mine isn't particularly funny. It's interesting, and I'd like to get your take on this. Okay. So we're actually, funny enough, we were just in Australia as a doctor. I'm going back to Australia. And it's a story about a dude had left money at a grocery store, $100, for children to treat themselves to some lollies and some candy and some treats. And according to this article, the world is divided whether this is appropriate or not. Is it someone just being kind and a nice gesture? Or is it stranger danger? Is it weird? And I'll tell you, I lean one way naturally, and it's more of like someone's just doing a nice thing.
Yeah.
But wow, people think that it's grooming behavior.
Oh,
no.
no.
And I don't know what the right answer is here, but like they talk about grooming. I would be very concerned if my child were given free lollies by a stranger anywhere at any time. But I think there's a difference between the obvious, we've talked about the white van and all that kind of stuff, is a person luring a child over with candy versus leaving money at a grocery store. And I don't know how it works exactly. Maybe there's a sign or something saying, hey, if you'd like something, it's covered. It's not a man giving it to you.
Yeah.
If there was like a Hansel and Gretel trail of breadcrumbs of $5 bills to the said white van, then yeah, maybe it's a bit of a luring, grooming kind of thing. Nothing excited me more than going to the local Towers of Wolco here, where we live in Canada, and seeing like a 25-cent piece inside of the gumball machine.
Right.
It just showed up like somebody was just nice enough to do that.
Yeah.
And I made that a point to do that a few times when I had extra change, to do that for some kid, like it's like an adult finding $20 in their pocket. Just that feeling of like, yay,
Yeah,
it's
right.
something
Big
awesome.
deal.
So just like let it happen. Like grooming.
Another quote is, this is a massive red flag coming from someone who works in child protection space. Now, with that, they kind of know what they're talking about. So they know more than maybe I do. It says, while it might appear as a kind gesture, it's also important to consider the implications of an adult buying things for children they don't know. These kinds of actions should be approached with caution. Now, like we have a radio show and we were talking about hockey rinks or something like that. And someone texted in saying, my wife and I go and watch kids hockey and we don't even have kids. I love to live in a world where not everyone's a freaking creep.
I know, but we do live in that world, and I am siding. I was raised very much by a helicopter mom when it came to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I err on the side of, you know what, it's better to just say no, because the kids may not differentiate between the bad guys and the good guys. It's sad. I don't disagree that
Yes.
it's unfortunate, but it's confusing. And I think if to make it clear for kids, I think adults buying you stuff is just not okay.
But then what is the difference with that whole paying it forward thing? So you go through a drive-through, you pull up, they're like, the person ahead just paid for you, right? You're like, okay, cool, that's great. Now, to Ryan's point, I don't think there's a guy standing at the doors of the grocery store handing out suckers as they're walking out.
Yeah.
Right? I think this seems to be like a faceless sort of gesture.
They say he left $100. So
Okay.
I think that's the way it is.
So maybe it's a paying it forward thing. So I say, if I went up to the clerk and I said, anytime a kid comes up here with oh, Henry, here's $100, it's free until the money runs out.
Yeah.
Am I a creep?
That's the whole point. So that's the whole argument, because it's not someone handing them candy. It does say here the first rule of pedophilia is to groom the parents and gain their trust. Like, people are really diving deep into this.
Whoa.
Now, I will say there is another side, and the other side is the people are saying, I think you're overreaching. I think you're overstepping. Someone says, if this was a female, would you be just as cautious? Now, that's an interesting angle, because they say it was about a 40-year-old man that left the money. If it was a 40-year-old woman, does that change? I don't know. Another said, this is so sad. Imagine doing something nice and getting called a pedo. We are broken. And again, I lean more towards that way because of this particular scenario.
I know.
Because he's not physically there. And I think to myself, I remember being in a grocery restaurant, and there was a couple kind of staring at me and my family, my wife and my kids. And not like, I don't get overly worried about too much. And they said at the end, as we were kind of leaving, they're like, hey, just, our kids are all grown up, and we're just over there. We're just looking at you, and we're just reminiscing of all our stories, right?
Right.
I didn't look at it like they're looking at us. They're looking at my kids. And when you talk to people, like maybe I'm wrong. I just think most people are good people. Now, with that being said, am I obsessed with watching, what was his name, To Catch a Predator? Like, there's some
Chris Hansen?
awful dudes out there.
Yes.
That, they set these guys up. They lure them into the house, and they're there to talk to a teenage girl. It's awful. But I got to think, and maybe it's wishful thinking, that this guy in this situation just maybe he has extra money. Maybe he doesn't have kids. Maybe he always wanted kids.
Yeah.
Maybe his kids, whatever. And he just wanted to do something nice.
It's a tough one, but
It's hard.
I err on the side of just being extra cautious so kids never have to decide for themselves.
Right, and I see that.
And I don't think that you're wrong in the way that you're looking at this either. I think that to be a protective parent is to be a smart parent is totally fine. And there's a lot of reasons in this day and age for you to be like that. I also think that like especially now, you're allowed to be a nice person, right? Like it's almost like you need permission to be okay. You need permission to be nice. And I would like to think, and I'm kind of like Rye here, and this could be a mother-father thing too. I don't know. I want to think that this guy was just being cool.
Yeah.
And was just being okay. I got a problem. Like I said, if you're out there handing it out as I'm leaving and you're giving my kids some candy, it's not making its way into the car. Like, it's just not. It's a hard one, but I want to err on the side of goodness.
The problem is that the more of these things that happen, the less and less people will want to do things. Like, for example, people like, if you're yelling at referees or you're yelling at your kid's coach, they're like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of doing this? And I think the kind of crappy part is that we are becoming so jaded, and maybe we have to be, and it just sucks because it's not the world you want to live in, right?
It does suck. It absolutely sucks that we even have to have this conversation. But if I'm erring on one side, I am going to be a little bit more overcautious.
Can I just show and tell you guys about my maturity that we just had a somewhat serious conversation based out of Australia, and I didn't do my awful Australian accent.
No, you did it in the second break when you told her to take her jumper off in your Australian accent. So don't worry, you had the creep thing covered. You're fine.
Jumper is a sweater for those of you who are.
Fantastic. If you want to have your say, shoot us an email, badparents@curiouscast.ca. And you can have your say on this or ask us a question. We love answering them. Love to do a podcast just on answering your questions, a little mailbag.
Especially if you're a single mom.
Okay. Leave your phone number for Rye. Until next time, I'm Johnny Garbett.
I'm Dr. Paca.
And I'm Shauna.
Until next time.